Nick, interestingly enough, you can actually then take that, because we're all going to have strengths and weaknesses, and our conversational style, our marketing style is going to appeal to some and not others. So understanding where you start from in terms of your conversational style, your personality, you can then ask ChatGPT to write content that's going to appeal to all the other profiles that you are not. And even though you're shaping this content, you may have a body of content that goes for a whole web page, but throughout the web page, you're sort of speaking different language to different personality types throughout. So if you're a D, high level, not detailed person, you just want the dot points, you've got them at the front end. And for those of people who, are more highly detailed, you've got all that information for them to go through.
This is the Business Owners Smashing It Online podcast for entrepreneurs and business owners looking for cool online tools, apps and strategies to make business easy online. My name is Nick Cree and I'm your host. Each episode features a guest expert demystifying the online universe, sharing inspirational ideas and providing tested real-world strategies to help you get the most of what's available online to grow your business today. Don't be a slave to your business, get your business working for you. Subscribe now and get some great content and ideas for you and your business today. Excellent. All right. Well, that brings us through to the main bill for this evening, and that is our good friend, ChatGPT. So this session here, I brought in my partner, co-conspirator, and ChatGPT master, Jenny Mutu, to come and help with me tonight. In fact, when I say help with me, I mean hopefully to do most of the talking, because I sit in the same office with her sometimes and hear some of the stuff that she does with ChatGPT. And she does some incredible stuff with ChatGPT that gives real insights that I didn't even think was possible. So she helps to inspire me to do some of the things that I do with ChatGPT as well too. But just by a quick show of hands there, how many people here are using ChatGPT at the moment in some way, shape or form? Fabulous, excellent. Who's still yet to learn or to get onto the platform? Okay, so it looks like everyone is using it in some way, shape or form. Who here considers themselves quite proficient with ChatGPT? Excellent, yeah, perfect. So a few of us here. Who here sort of is maybe a novice and just really getting started with it? Thank you, perfect, excellent. And who here is sort of just in that in-between phase? They've got some of it mastered, but they could do a whole lot. Great, all right, we've got a great spread here. So we'll be calling on some of the experts that are here in it as well too. So feel free to chip in and chime in on the way through. But the purpose of tonight is really to give not so much a teaching session, but more an overview of possibility. We will dive into the ChatGPT platform to show you some of what's possible, but the lens that I want you to be looking at it tonight is thinking about your business and using that question how. So asking yourself, how could I apply this, or how could I use this for my business, or the use case that we are talking about tonight. How is that applicable? And so it just requires you to start thinking about it. And I want you to change your thinking about some of how you're using ChatGPT as well too. So one of the mistakes that people make with ChatGPT, and I did this at the beginning, and I'm sure some of us have as well, is that we think that it's a machine that's going to give us some answers. I'm here to tell you that it's not that machine. It will help you get the answers, but it is not the oracle that is going to sort of solve all of your problems. So, but if you use it the right way, it will come out with some pretty incredible stuff that will really help you. So I think at this sort of point here, I might just ask. Actually, first, no, I'll come back to that. I've got a framework. Don't let me get away tonight without giving you a framework for using ChatGPT. So I want to talk to you about the framework. So someone just remind me, whether it's in chat or whether you open up the mic. But I might just ask Jenny. So with this as well too, it's a conversation. There are no slides. We will, well, I will, I think, jump into ChatGPT every now and again and show you some things. It's a conversation, and I want you involved in the conversation. So if you do have questions there, drop them into chat, put up your hand, and so we can bring you in. And if you do it that way there, rather than just opening up the mic, because sometimes when we open up the mic, we get really excited. There's three of us with an open mic, and we can't actually hear what sort of any of you are saying. So we'll just keep a slight bit of order there. So either in chat or the hands raised. I see Sterling, you've got your hand up. I'm not sure whether that was intentional. No, okay, perfect. We'll pop your hand down again until you need it. Excellent. All right, so I might just hand over to Jenny right now and just ask you to talk about ChatGPT in terms of how do you use it and what's been the most effective thing for you?
Okay, so I think categorically I use it for just about everything. So, you know, I've used it to, say, for instance, create a meal plan for me based on a vegetarian diet that is keto orientated, with the need to have over 50 grams of protein in a day and less than 50 grams of carbohydrates in a day. And I will ask it to put together a meal plan for a 7-day period or a 14-day period, for instance. That also includes the ingredients and how to make the recipe. So that's just an easy kind of practical mucking around, just seeing what this thing could do kind of scenario. Nick, have you ever, well, I know you've done this, so do you want to share a little bit about how you've used it in that regard?
That's why I look so good, is because it's just giving me a meal plan that makes me slim and trim, and I should actually get it to help me to choose patterns for my shirts and where to buy some really good shirts across the globe. But I'm a big proponent of ChatGPT. And the latest use that I've had of it is to create an entire funnel. So we've got a program coming up very shortly. It happens to be on ChatGPT, but the whole process we've used, or actually both Jenny and I use ChatGPT to create all of the marketing around it. Now, I have to say that it took days and days and days of work to implement this, but it would have taken weeks and weeks and weeks had we not had ChatGPT. So
yeah, I mean, to touch on your point there, and of course I just kind of opened up with a little bit of lightness, and I know that everyone's interested, you know, in terms of how to use this for a business. You know, one of the points you just made there, kind of loosely, Nick, was just in regards to the structure itself. So for me, you know, I look at structure in terms of ChatGPT. What mindset are you going into this tool with, and what are you trying to get out of it first and foremost? So like in terms of structure, sometimes I will start with no structure at all. I'm just loosely trying to get to an outcome of some description. And then there are other times where I use something quite structured to get a result. So let me give you an example. Okay, so one example, you know, as business owners, sometimes it's really hard to see our zone of genius, or it's really hard to see what we do. And if you've ever had that situation where you've been in business and somebody says, oh, you know, Sterling, what do you do? And you're just like lost for words and you can't quite get out what you do. You've got the essence of what you do, but you can't put it into language in some particular way that's cohesive and makes an impact that you want over there with the person listening. This is where ChatGPT is really good, because just as an example, I might write a small or short post or blog, and I will ask Chat to give me some feedback as to how that post is landing. So what is the voice? What is the pitch? You know, I'm writing with a particular intention. When I'm getting that feedback from Chat, I'm looking for, is that intention actually landing over there? So some of the things that Nick and I were talking about earlier today were, like, I'm a very passionate person. I'm very bold. Some people might perceive my manner, particularly in writing, as aggressive, or, you know, they might interpret it in a whole bunch of different ways. So by using Chat as my feedback, I can see how things land. Sometimes I am quite expressive in my language. So it might suggest, you know what, Jenny, maybe you shouldn't say bleep, and you could use this tone, or you could use this sentence structure instead, so that's an example of something where I'm going into it's not a structured kind of conversation. We're just flowing in, and I'm using this to get some feedback and some examples of how I can position my language and my words.
So you're asking ChatGPT for its opinion.
Essentially, yes. How does this land? This is what I'm going for in terms of the tone or the voice. Or sometimes I don't even know what I'm going for. I just want to see and throw it out there that if I say these things, and what is the feedback you're getting about me as who I am as a person, or how my writing is sounding.
All right.
So how long would an article be? What's like the biggest article you can put on for it to give you an opinion?
So this is where the structure comes in. Yeah. So the very beginning of your use of the AI tool, you want to be able to think about how you're going to train this tool. And I can probably, I'm speaking for Unique here. I can certainly speak for myself in terms of it took a while to understand that, it's a tool, right? So data, you put crap in, you're going to get crap out. So the more data and the more information you can feed it, the better response you're going to get. So Peter, I think you asked that question. You want to pre-frame it with some parameters. Okay, so I've got this article. It's speaking about this particular topic. The target audience is for this kind of person. Can you give me, and then go from there. And so as you're going through that conversation, the article could be 300 words, it could be 150 words, but just over time, you're just training the tool to be able to get the kind of results that you want from it.
I think that's one thing to remember, is that ChatGPT remembers what you put into it. So it doesn't always pull up what you put into it, but it remembers it. So it is important to say things like, and this is your pre-framing of it. And so my pre-frame is, I speak in Australian English. That's a really simple thing. So every piece of content that you are producing, in your ChatGPT, I say it has to be in Australian English. And so now it doesn't give me those words with Z's in it and, the American spellings. It gives me Australian spelling. If it doesn't, it does muck up sometimes. And all I do is the prompt is, can you just convert this to Australian spelling? That's it. So that's one thing. The other thing is to think about, how do you speak? Now, a good thing to do with how do you speak, if you haven't got enough information in ChatGPT, is ask someone else what how they would describe you in terms of how you speak, and then put that into ChatGPT to say that you are conversational, or you're formal, your level of English comprehension is a particular level. How do people perceive you? Drop that in. And another way to do that is, if you've done any personality profiles, like the Roger Hamilton profile, a DISC profile, a Myers-Briggs profile, and you've got the printout and the report of it, upload it to ChatGPT and say, this is my profile or personality profile. The content that I want you to write is reflective of my personality in these profiles. So the more of these profiles you've got, if you've done 6 or 7, upload them all. Ask ChatGPT, what can you tell me about myself based on these profiles? So ask it that question. It will give you the information that it thinks you are. You can have a conversation with it to say, no, I don't think that's quite like me. I'm probably more like this, until you come out with a persona. So you're asking it to give a persona of who you are. And then you save that and say, this is who I am. This is how I want you to speak. And you're using that for all of your conversations with ChatGPT.
Nick, interestingly enough, you can actually then take that, because we're all going to have strengths and weaknesses, and our conversational style, our marketing style is going to appeal to some and not others. So understanding where you start from in terms of your conversational style, your personality, you can then ask ChatGPT to write content that's going to appeal to all the other profiles that you are not. And even though like you're shaping this content, you may have a body of content that goes for a whole web page, but throughout the web page, you're sort of speaking different language to different personality types throughout. So if you're a D, high level, not detailed person, you just want the dot points, you've got them at the front end. And for those of people who, more highly detailed, you've got all that information for them to go through.
And actually from that as well too, if someone's written you an email and you wonder what sort of personality they are and how they'd like to be responded to, you can copy that email, you copy it into ChatGPT and ask it, what sort of profile is this person based on, say, the DISC profiling tool or the Enneagram profiling tool. So you ask it what profile it is, and then you ask it, I need to reply to this email. These are the points that I need in the reply. I want you to reply to this email in the best format that's going to be received by this person based on their personality profile. And then you're going to get a well-crafted email that is going to be sort of, readable by them. Does that make sense? Perfect. All right, Fred, you got a question?
No, it's more of an observation, Nick. I had one of my clients the other day. They've got a receptionist answering the phone, and what we did was we grabbed a WAV file and pushed it up to ChatGPT and asked it to analyze the WAV file, tell us what was wrong with the conversation, what was right with, and what would they recommend. And the response was spot on. It was like the client was blown away, and we delivered that in 10 minutes. It was amazing.
Yeah, the time savings, like with that sort of thing there, Fred, in terms of what you could do with it, just without ChatGPT, how different was the response, or how quick was it?
Oh, look, but that's like, that would be me with my opinion of how that person reacted, right? How the reception was reacting, and that's just my opinion. It was probably the most unbiased response I've seen of anybody. Like, it was, and it was very constructive. It wasn't demeaning. It wasn't putting the person in a place at all. It was just saying, what they did well, what they really need to look at, and the remedies to the conversation so they could get the sale.
Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Actually, that's a good way to find out what people's like, if you've got client files there, what their objections are, what their concerns are, and it can really help to as a training tool for staff, but also in terms of how you write to people as well. So yeah, I haven't done that before, but yeah, great use case. What I thought I might do, let's just jump into ChatGPT now, and I'm just going to show you around just a couple of areas that I happen to use. So let me just share my screen. If I can get to it now, here we go. So there are a couple of areas that I want to show you that I think are going to be helpful in terms of using ChatGPT. So the first one is well, certainly in terms of chat, everyone knows, well, hopefully where the chat prompt is. Here it is in the middle. So this is where you ask it the questions. Just down below, there's these things called Explore GPTs. Has anyone been into that area there? If you haven't, yep, great. So some people have. If you haven't, definitely jump into there, because what these are, the Explore GPTs are custom, what they call GPTs, so custom queries that people have put together based on the sort of output they want. Now, I'll give you an example. One of them I use is YouTube Summarizer. So that's in there. So once you're in the custom GPTs, you can just search for it. But YouTube Summarizer is one that I use. And this one is absolutely brilliant in terms of creating articles. So every session, well, almost every session of late of these business owners smashing it online sessions, I want to create a blog post out of it. And the reason why I want a blog post out of our content is that I want to get that content back into ChatGPT for it to be presenting out to people who are asking questions that the content actually answers. So, so I'll talk about how to find the questions that people are asking. So this is the new SEO. So people have often said, oh, SEO is dead because you've got ChatGPT, and it is true that more and more people are now turning to ChatGPT to do their searches. So less are using Google and Bing, more of them are using ChatGPT. So they'll just type their search questions directly into here. And if you have a look on this bottom right-hand side of the prompt, this is voice mode. And so on the phone, if you click on it on the computer, it'll activate your microphone. And on your phone, you can just speak your query. Now, people speak differently to how they type. So what you need to do in order to write good content for the search engine, so we're still talking about search engine optimization, you need to answer the question that people are speaking in natural language, not how they type. So the best way to do that is to ask ChatGPT for the questions that people are asking. So I'm going to actually, I don't think the microphone's going to work here because I've got the sort of Zoom on recording. So, but if you have a particular industry, who's got an industry that we can talk about? Happy for me to workshop just a little bit. Any hands up? Any hand will do.
Cairo, Fred said.
Who was that?
Fred said Cairo.
Chiropractor. Okay, so I might ask, what are the typical questions people are asking in ChatGPT about? My spelling is atrocious when I'm in here. About fixing back pain, for instance, by a chiro. So you can so very simple prompt, and now we'll start to give you some questions that people are actually asking. So we've asked it questions. What are they asking ChatGPT? So these are the ones that they're coming through and asking. So they're giving us 10 questions here. And so if I think that these are not probably the language they're using, we can then go and interrogate ChatGPT further and ask it, is this the language people use when asking their questions? Or what are the exact phrases they are using? So now we're having a bit of a conversation with ChatGPT to get our accurate information. So here we've got now, this is a more refined version of it. So let's say this number 10 here says, can chiropractic adjustments prevent future back problems? So probably not what they're typing into ChatGPT, but they might be but they might be asking, like if they're using voice, what should I expect during my chiropractic visit? Is chiropractic treatment safe for herniated discs? So that's probably the language that they're using. If I think that that's just being typed in and not used by voice, we could refine that prompt even further and say, give me, or refine this further. Refine this further for people who are speaking by voice into ChatGPT. Or just speaking by voices is enough too. So now we'll start to get, what are the actual questions they're speaking into it as opposed to typing into it. So now it's come back with common voice-based questions people ask ChatGPT about chiropractors and back pain. So if you think about that for your industry, you want to think about who's using ChatGPT and what are the questions that they're typing in, what are the questions that they're asking in by voice. And people are using voice these days as well too. So with those there, what you've got here are, this particular one is 10 examples. So now there's your starting point to create content. So you've either got 10 blog posts, so that's 10 weeks worth of blog posts, and then you can start to interrogate ChatGPT any further. So let's say the first question that's given us, does a chiropractor really help with back pain? So we can sort of drop that into the prompt again and say, why are people asking this question specifically? And what are the unspoken deep concerns, objections, or fears that they have that they are not expressing? So what we're doing is we're asking it to find out, you know, what's actually in behind their question. And so it's difficult to get this from people just by asking, or it takes a while to get it from them by asking, but you'll start to get this very quickly with ChatGPT. So now it's giving us an answer as to what's going on deep within a person, to which is causing them to ask that surface level question. So there you go. Here's one. Am I wasting their money? You know, it's like unsure about whether this treatment's real or a placebo, or they're falling for pseudoscience. What if it makes my pain worse? What if it's just temporary relief? Will there be pressure? Will they pressure me into a treatment plan? Worried about you know, having to keep going back to them. Is it legit, or is it just hype? Am I desperate for anything that might work? All right. So these here really become 6 points that you can use in a blog post. They can be 6 social media posts. They can be a video that you create around these here. So if you're a chiropractor, you might create a video, and it's all on the topic of, does a chiropractor really help with back pain? So that might be the title of your video, your blog post, your social media, and you've now got 6 points to cover. So now what you can do is you can do something like ask it, who is the, say, top chiropractor expert in the world, and how would they address or answer these questions? In fact, what I might do is I'm going to say, who is the top chiropractor in the world? That's it. So it's going to be a 2-pronged. You don't want to ask ChatGPT too many questions in the same prompt, otherwise you get some fairly general and generic answers. Okay, so now they're giving us, it says it's the top chiropractor is subjective, so it's given us a list of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 chiropractors, and so you can start to interrogate it now for how they would respond to these. Or sometimes what I do is I ask it to act as the super chiropractor, who has the combination of all the knowledge of these people here, and then answer the questions. And what you want to do is, you don't want to answer all the questions. You want to answer them one by one. So
you might have asked, rather than say who is, because all those are American. You might.
You can definitely bring it down to, say, Australia, to whatever you want. So you can be quite specific around it too, and you can be quite specific about the type of chiropractor they are as well too. So again, this is fairly general in terms of that, but you can really bring it down to be quite finely honed. And then what you do is you can then say, let's say, for instance, we've got Dr. Ash Kabash, and I'm going to say act as, and answer the answer fully. Which one here? The question here, number one, answer fully. Am I wasting my money? Okay, so now what we've got is it's acting as, who it considers, one of the top chiropractors, now answering that question. So if you do that for each of these questions that are there, you can see how much content it's starting to produce for that one question. And it's got 4 points already. Okay, and then you can just go through and ask it to do all of these questions one by one. And then you can ask it to then put it together as a comprehensive, so act as an editor, put it together as a comprehensive article to publish on your blog, and it will then do that. Before you publish it, you then say, what are they? So based on the questions that people are asking in Google search and in ChatGPT, I want you to optimize this article now so that it gets found particularly and recommended by ChatGPT when people are asking these questions. And the reason why you're doing that is that you'll see that ChatGPT gives links to websites when people are doing research. So you can see here, you can easily create a highly optimized article that'll be picked up in the search engines and be picked up by ChatGPT by sort of using a process like this, where you're asking questions on the way through. So I won't finish it off, but it's really just to give you a sample of how you're creating content for your blog post. Now, then what you can then do is you can then ask it to create a number of social media posts for you to be able to post on all platforms in all formats, pointing back to the blog post. So now you've got content for your website, for social media, and then you can say, write me a script for a Instagram or for a YouTube video answering the questions. And so then it will come up with a script for you. I would just generally do it in bullet point, but this will start to give you a bit of a script which you can then use for creating a video for YouTube. So that's just one way to create content. I'm going to show you the way that I use it, and that's by going to Explore GPTs, searching for YouTube Video Summarizer. And I've already oops, I haven't spelled that properly. What have we got? YouTube Video Summarizer. So once you've searched for it, I've got it here, and all I simply do with that now is if I go to my YouTube channel, and let's say we grab this latest video. What I'm going to do is go to share. I'm going to copy the link, come back to ChatGPT, and it says, generate a summary for this YouTube video. It's now going to ask me for the link. So all I do is paste in the link. Now, this is a video that I've created. So these could be videos that you create. So now it'll give a summary. And once it's done the summary there, the next part of this is that you can then get it to write an article based on this video that you've created yourself. So you can see it's generating all the points, and I'll also ask it to create a 3,000 word article. So I think, Peter, you're asking about how long can it be. I get it to create a 3,000 word article. If you're writing articles that are sort of like 300 to 500 words, which is what a lot of SEO consultants will tell you to do, that is old stuff. That doesn't work anymore. You need to have authoritative content that answers the question that people have. If you want to appear in ChatGPT search and in Google search, they have to be authoritative pieces, not just little quick bits of content. They have to be meaningful. So at the end of this, they've got these commands. It says you can expand the summary, write an educational article, create a conclusion diagram, assess my knowledge of the video through a multiple choice quiz. So you can create a quiz or indicate timestamps. So all I wanted to do is to write an educational article. So I'm just going to copy that A in brackets, put that into there. And now what it's going to do is it's going to write an article. Now I didn't actually sort of specify it needs to be 3,000 words, but you can start to specify that. And it will then write you an article of the length that you need. Now, as you read the article, I wouldn't copy and paste this directly. I would, again, start to interrogate it. So go through it section by section and add your spin to it too. So ask it to add things in. If you don't agree with something, you say you don't agree with it, but here is your point of view, and you can add that into it as well too. So there you go. So it's written an article, and with that, you can then go and say, generate a featured image based on the content of the article and of the dimensions. So I always give the dimensions of the image, 2400. Oh, let's say, I'll just say 4:3. And now what it'll do is it will now create an image for you. So I think it's using DALL-E is the model. This is a newer feature in ChatGPT where it will directly create an image rather than you having to have a plugin. And there we've got an image it creates. If you don't like it, you can recreate it. The other thing you can do too is suggest a prompt. So you can ask it for a prompt to give Canva to create an image. And then it'll give you the prompt. You can copy and paste that, put that into Canva if you're using Canva, and then you can use the Canva design tool to then create the image. So now we've got a prompt here that you can drop into Canva for that. And so with that there, so probably took about 5 minutes to do that from the content of your YouTube video. So I always start from video because if you've got video, you can often talk more than you can write, and then you've got the good basis of then creating the content that you can then use for an article. Any questions around that or any sort of feedback around that at all? All right. How do you know? Here we go. How do you know if Google thinks the content is plagiarism? Good question. Yes. And there's a few misnomers about sort of Google and what do they call it? Whether they penalize you for content that's been out on the internet before. It doesn't penalize you. It just attributes the first place that it was published as a source of the content. That's what generally gets most of the traffic. As far as plagiarism is concerned, if you are just asking ChatGPT to create a video or so create a blog post based on its information, it definitely could be bringing in content that belongs to other people. If you are creating content that comes from a video that you've created, then it's original content because you're basing it on the content that you have spoken. That makes sense? So always good to start with video. Yes, you can create a PDF ebook. So if that article there, if you're wanting to create, let's say, a lead magnet or a downloadable document, you can just ask ChatGPT to create in a PDF version, and it will give you a PDF file which you can click on and download. You've now got a lead magnet that you can use. I sometimes use it for health problems. A person would go to a chiro, so that was the chiro. So yep, okay. Right. Any questions about that, or any comment about that, or any sort of even comment about how you think you could use it, or any how it might not work for your particular business? David.
Hi, Nick. Yeah, the only question that I really had was, I don't know if it's exactly like the time to ask it, but was between I was trying to look into it the other day, and between ChatGPT, Copilot, Gemini, all the rest of them, you seem to like ChatGPT, and I was just wondering if there's a reason for that, and if there really is any difference between the rest of them, or yeah, just why you like ChatGPT, really.
Yeah, there is a good question. I think so. ChatGPT has been my favorite because that's the one I've just used the most. I have used the other platforms, that they're all slightly different. And if you want to see what the differences are, if you use the same prompts and put them in all the platforms, and then compare the responses, that will give you an idea as to what you can expect from the platforms. I've just found ChatGPT to be more helpful for the sorts of content and uses that I've got for it.
Okay, fair enough. Thanks.
Which is the best one for sort of academic work, as opposed to just, I mean, I use ChatGPT, and like in 15 minutes, I can do half a dozen surveys and a few templates.
Yeah.
Bang, 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 specific to an industry or whatever. So that, that's fine, that's good. But are there sort of like any of these that are specific to and good for academic writing? And I don't mean plagiarism. So I'll write an article and then I'll say, can you have a look at this and see if you can sort of like jiggle it about a bit? So I'll write the whole thing first, and then do something.
So with ChatGPT, you could do that in ChatGPT. You give it some parameters around, I want you to act as an academic in a particular field who is for instance, a lecturer.
You say you want you to look at this as an editor of this journal or something.
I want you to act as the editor, not just but act as the editor, and I want you to edit it as that editor. And give me some feedback, Yeah. Okay, because I've tried putting in like 3,000 words and it said it's too long. Yeah. How much have you got to pay each month for it to say, yeah, cool, man, I'll do that, instead of it's too long? Are you on the free plan or the paid plan? I'm on the free plan at the moment. Okay, so really the paid plan is where you need to be to get the best benefit out of it, because you will have those restrictions on the free one. The paid plan is, it's not expensive, it's $20 a month. Right. Yeah, but it gives you all of the expanded options, so you can put in a lot more text into it. And what you'll find is the responses you get are better. Good, thank you. The other thing I do too, Peter, is in terms of your content, who are your influencers? Like, who are the people that you would consider to get peer reviews from for what you write? I have various professors that I talk to and look at what I'm doing at universities around Australia, if that's what you mean. Yes. So then what you would do is in ChatGPT, you would prompt it to say, this professor here is who I would consider someone that I would go to for advice and a peer review. What information can you give me about how this particular person would review my article? And then I want you to act as this person and give me a full review of it. Okay, yeah. Okay. So you can name them. So first of all, you want to find out, does ChatGPT know about them? So you're asking for information, what that is accessible. And then if you're happy with that, then you ask it to act as that person and then edit it for you.
Probably also worth noting, Nick, that there are different professions that are developing their AI tools specifically for their industry sector as well. So in the legal industry, for instance, there are a whole bunch of AI tools being created specifically to cite cases or store information or present information in a particular way using their own created AI for their purpose. So it's worth doing a search if you've got a specific industry that you're looking to develop content or materials for, whether they have publicly available AI tools, specific to that.
Excellent. All right, any other questions just on that part there?
I think Bruce has his hand up there.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Bruce.
It's very, very interesting. Jenny, I think that language you're talking about for solicitors is called gobbledygook. Look, a couple of questions. Firstly, you were demonstrating really well, Nick, but why weren't you using voice rather than typing and making those errors?
Because when I've got Zoom on and using voice with Zoom, it doesn't play nicely. Otherwise, I would use voice.
Okay, so you can use voice for everything. I mean,
Yep.
someone who can't type could still use this.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Now, how clever is ChatGPT? I mean, can I say, please go into my LinkedIn profile, and of the 1,500 people I've got, can you find out all the left-handed mining engineers?
You can do that in LinkedIn, but you can also get ChatGPT to do that as well.
So I mean, ChatGPT to do it.
Yeah, it can do that as well. So,
and then send them an email that says, hi, we haven't met, blah, blah, blah.
so it won't send them the email, but it will construct an email for you that you can then
Yep.
go and send.
Yep.
Yep. So ChatGPT can really only access information that's publicly available, or that it's been trained on in its memory bank. So if the LinkedIn profiles are publicly available, it can go through and get those profiles, because those profiles are also on Google search. So they'll appear in Google search results.
I'd recommend going into LinkedIn though and downloading your contacts as an Excel spreadsheet as the first point of reference. So
Why is that?
So then you have them on a spreadsheet, and then you can potentially upload that spreadsheet into ChatGPT.
Actually, that leads me on to another sort of point there, I think, Bruce, which is probably going to be helpful for you as well in terms of answering that question, but also for anyone that's wanting to do research on other people or other businesses. So let me just jump back in and share my screen again. It's this one here. Okay, and I'll come back to so in Explore GPTs again, I have an app which has been added to my prompts, and it's called Deep Research. So you want to take a note of that, Deep Research. And what you can ask it to do, let me just bring up a summary of someone that or a business that I've done some research
So
on.
what is deep research? Is that in AI, in ChatGPT?
Yep, so you can see it in the prompt, in my prompt window.
The paid version, Peter.
Yeah, sorry, this is the paid version. So yes, you need that. It will have an icon down the bottom for search, which means it's searching the internet. And then they've got Deep Research, which is now pulling in information about particular topics you want.
I used it for my family history and names and generations and everything.
Perfect.
And what were the results for that, Michael?
Very, very good.
Okay, so when you do it, I'm going to give you a prompt. So here's my prompt that I use for this particular one. I did some deep research on my business and company, so you can do it on any business that's out there. So you could do it potentially on your competitors to find out what their gaps are, or where they are competing with you, or what they're not doing to help you to get your point of difference. But the prompt that I used was, what can you tell me about Nick Cree, who owns Smashgo, is the host of Business Owners Smashing an Online Live weekly webinar. In particular, how he and his business appears in the search engine results, publicly available details about him and his company, products and services offered, typical client profile and industry served, an analysis of the company's sales and marketing strategies, a full SWOT analysis, which is strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats for him and his business, focus on his organic presence, Google rankings, Google business, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and other social media presence, online reputation, publications, and media that he's appeared in. I'd also like to know who his direct competitors are. That was the prompt. And it has brought in a ton of information, all of which was highly accurate, which answered all of those questions. Now, when you use deep research, you can see how long this is. It will take 8 to 10 minutes to complete this search. But it's very deep, it's very detailed,
Wow.
and it's incredibly helpful. So I'm thinking, Bruce, for your purposes there, if you are sort of researching businesses there that are in a sector that you're interested in, this is a really good tool for you to use. And
Or
probably
if you're wanting to speak directly to left-handed, what was it, engineers?
Mining engineers.
Mining engineers, yeah. Then you could use the same kind of, thinking about the sort of prompts that you would put in to specifically target in your language and your marketing to be able to speak directly to that kind of client.
Wow. Thank you.
I can tell you that the other way that I've used this is working with clients, wanting to find out, and these are clients that are wanting to implement some organic marketing strategies, like an overall strategy. I use it to research them, but also their competitors as well. So we get a full competitor analysis to see where it is that they fit in the market, what are their unique strengths, what are their weaknesses, and to develop a marketing plan that works for them, but doing all that research to start with.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see how powerful that might be.
Can I tell it, for example, to find the email addresses of all the people who are on here tonight and send them an email which says, "Hi all, da 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 da."
It won't send the email, but if I ask it to find, let's say, Peter Dutton's, why anyone would want that email, but you may do. Find Peter Dutton's email, for instance, it'll go and do a search. So if it's publicly available information, it'll go and find that information. So there we go. We've got Peter Dutton's contact is peter.dutton.mp@aph.gov.au.
Mm-hmm.
And so then you can ask ChatGPT to then go and craft an email on a specific topic. You can even ask it things like, what is Peter Dutton's disk profile? Okay, so you can get his disk profile.
What's a disk profile?
So disk is a personality test.
All right.
So it's a particular personality test.
Thought that was New Zealand for desk.
Say again, Peter?
I thought you said desk in New Zealand.
Sorry, yes, the accent. All right, so it's given us a couple of responses, and so it says that Peter Dutton is probably a D, a high D, dominant sort of person, and so then you can ask it how best to approach or write to him.
Nick, did you want to cover some of the other uses for ChatGPT as well?
Yep, I'll do that. Thank you. I sort of haven't got much time. Thank you. So there you can. So the short answer is yes, you can find the details and you can start to craft some communication. So now you're getting his communication style. All right, I'm going to show you one other thing. There's lots of things I'd like to show you. Just remember to give that I need to give you the prompting framework. The last thing I want to show you before that is over on the top right-hand side, when you click on your icon, there is this thing called My GPTs. So these are environments just for you and your business. So I've got a custom GPT for writing the marketing material for this show here. So I've got a format for it. Well, people that are speakers on the show, they give me their information in a particular way. And so in order to write the marketing pieces for social media, for emails, for blogs, all of that sort of stuff there, this is where I do it. And in fact, my team can use this as well too. So I've shared this with my team, so it writes in my voice. So, you know, Australian English, it's casual. So I've told it everything. So all I've done is as I've said, we've given it a name. This is Bosio Webinar Marketing. You're a content creator, casual, friendly, Aussie style assistant for the business owners smashing online webinar series. So I'm describing who I am. I've said you are to avoid the phrases. So I've given the whole list of phrases that are in what I call my banned list. I have a banned words list that ChatGPT is not allowed to use, and I keep adding words to it. So if I see words that come out in responses from ChatGPT, then I add it to the banned list and it doesn't use those phrases again. I give it the format of the show. I give it the influences that I have in terms of writing content. So people like Jay Abraham, Robert Cialdini, Jeff Walker, Amy Porterfield, Frank Kern, Marissa Murgatroyd. So they're all in there as well too. So that's the sort of style that I like to draw from. And I've uploaded all of these examples of previous marketing pieces that I've created in the past. And so this becomes my, I suppose, a master prompt in that sort of way there. And so I've shared that with my team. And then when we come through to create content for the next show, I will then use this. If I can go back to it, let's go to Bosio Webinar. I'll then use it. And all I need to do is to give it the topic of the show, who the speaker is, and the information they've given to me. It will now write all of my marketing material for the show. It takes me about a minute to get that done, and the team has got it. No, it sounds like it's cheating, but but it uses in my voice. When I read it, it's like I've written it, because I've given it all the examples that I've written in and all of my influences. And then other pieces that we write, just keep adding to it. So now, yeah, pretty much every time it comes out with my voice.
Fantastic.
So you can use that yourself. You can create these custom GPT up on that right hand area, and for whatever purpose you want. So if there's any magic I would give you from tonight, it's that. Go and create your own custom GPTs, and put in there your website or content for your website, any publicly information that you've published. Put that all in there, because it's going to get to learn your style, the information that you have published, that, you know, where it can draw from, so that, you know, the content you get out is very accurate and sounds a lot like you, or sounds exactly like you. Fred.
Yeah, Nick. Yeah, look, I you know that I've been involved in this since the beginning, but the unique GPTs, as they're called, are like the prompts. That's where you really need to be. Like, for example, I do website audits for clients, and that's one of my lead magnets. So I get people in by doing an audit. It used to take me probably 2 or 3 hours to go through somebody's website and do an audit. It takes me 2 minutes now.
Yeah.
Because I've got a GPT, my own GPT. I just plug the person's URL in for their website, and because I've given it the right information, that's where the work went in. I probably spent a couple of hours putting that information in at the beginning to audit it correctly. Now I can do an audit, spit back a PDF, send it to the client. They got it within an hour, and it took me 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Right? So if that's the thing out of tonight, everybody go and have a look at creating your own GPTs.
100%. Yeah, if there's one thing you do, that there is the area that's got the most gold. Now, you can publish those GPTs, those ones that you create, you can publish them publicly. So if you want other people to use them, you can publish them, you can sell them, or you can keep them private just for your use and for your team. So I use them for my team. Colin.
One of the things I've found it very useful for when I write an article, and most of the articles I write are from history, they're biographic articles, if you like. I got it to do an image of me. I wanted to be on because you've got to put an advert in, you've got to have a picture. So I said, find a guy, 40 years old, blonde hair, blue eyes, businessman. And I told it then, that's me. So in future, when I say Colin, so the other day was really good. I said, Colin is walking down Collins Street early in the morning. And gee, it was absolutely wonderful. It was exactly like Collins Street. And then when I'm taking articles from my book, it's called Little Pond. I've already given it the image for that. So I'll I'll say this is the topic of this subject, but it's related to little pond. So it gives me the image for particularly for LinkedIn. And then I say, give me an ad for LinkedIn and an ad for Facebook. So the ads are very different, or a summary for there. So I find that very, very useful.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, you can use it for all of that sort of stuff. And it's very, I mean, the thing about it is speed, and you can get something quite accurate when you've got your own information in there. David.
Yeah, I was just wondering, Nick, does ChatGPT, if you create something in ChatGPT, can you post it straight to your socials, or do you have to save it somewhere, like that image that you generated? ChatGPT, can you post that straight to a social?
Yeah, it won't post directly to socials. You need to download it and put it into a social media scheduler or directly to socials. But you can create processes. There are applications out there you can create processes, so it can pull it out from ChatGPT, automatically upload it to your social media scheduler to then schedule it for a certain date, whatever. So we're just really scratching the surface by using some of these custom GPTs, and by using ChatGPT. Once you start to stitch together some of the other AI tools or some of the other workflow and productivity tools, you're going to automate a lot of these systems and processes.
Okay, cool, thanks.
All right, let me just get into, hang on, we had Peter, you had a question there. Is every piece of content we create on ChatGPT available to everyone? Really good question, hard to know, but just be aware that ChatGPT as a tool is trained on all of the content that is inputted into it. So if you've got sensitive information, I wouldn't be uploading sensitive information up into ChatGPT. So if you've got confidential information on clients or even yourself, don't upload that to ChatGPT because you don't know whether that is going to be available or whether it's going to use it in any other of its output. And again, with intellectual property, Jenny and I have a real debate about this as well too, but you need to be aware that anything you put up into ChatGPT that is your intellectual property is potentially going to be used to train the machine and could be used for other people's content as well. So they're just some caveats to be aware of. Okay, I'm just going to show you quickly a framework for your ChatGPT, constructing your prompts in there. Okay. And it's one called the CLEAR framework, CLEAR prompting framework. And in fact, you can drop into ChatGPT, you can ask it, what is the CLEAR prompting framework? If you do that, you won't need a handout that I could give you. It will give you the framework. And the framework is very simple. So CLEAR stands for, C stands for context, L, leadership, persona, E equals exact task, A equals aim, and R equals requirements. So how you use that is your context is you're telling GPT what is it that you're actually doing? Who's involved? What's the background? What's it for? What's some helpful information with it? So if you're creating let's say, Colin, you were talking about a course, your Little Voices course. You're creating a course, then you would feed in what this course is about, who does it potentially benefit, why you've put it together, and the outcomes or how it really helps people. So you're giving it that sort of information so that it knows, okay, so this is the context of it all. And you're going to tell it it's a course, it's a 6-week course or a 2-week course, it's a DIY course, or it's got some live components. So you want to give it as much information as you possibly can. The L stands for leadership persona. So you're defining how the voice of the AI. So, is it a marketer? Is it a copywriter? Is it a coach? A best-selling author? So this is where you're describing you. Who are you in this, and what do you do? How are you wanting it to act? So, if you're creating a course, you obviously want to act as you. But if you're creating marketing material for it, you might want it to act as, say, Russell Brunson. to create your marketing pieces. Or you might want to act as you, but you want Russell Brunson to edit it. So you might want it to take on that persona. The E stands for exact task. And so this is where it's really important you're absolutely clear about what you want it to do. So if you're writing marketing material for, or a landing page for it, you want it to, you tell it you're writing a landing page, for instance, but you also want to break it up into segments. I want you to write the copy for a landing page. Let's start with the headline. I want you to give me 10 headline ideas. Or you might have some copy that you've already written. You want it to polish it up. So tell me exactly what you want it to do. A stands for the aim. What outcome do you want? Do you want to drive signups, simplify a process, create engagement? So what's the end result that you want? So you're telling it what the result is, so it can start to shape the content for that. And the requirements. So what else do you need? What are the requirements in terms of tone, constraints? Are you speaking sort of in Aussie language? How many words is it? 3,000 words, 5,000 words? What tools or platforms are you using? You're using Teachable for teaching it, or your WordPress website, or Go High Level, those sort of things. So I want to give it as much information around that as well. So you actually spend a bit of time in this part. The more time you spend in this area here, the easier it is going to be for you, and the better the output you're going to get for your content. So it's the clear prompting framework. So if you go into ChatGPT and ask it to give you an explanation of what the clear prompting framework is, and you can then even ask it to apply it to a particular project that you've got. So let's say you've got a course, you want to do some marketing with it. You can ask ChatGPT, how would I use the clear framework to help me shape up a sales page or a marketing email? So you can ask it to do that, and then it will start to give you some information about it. One of my other favorite questions is for ChatGPT is, before you start this task, what other information do you need that will be helpful for it? So if you ask it for the additional information, it will give it to you, and then you're more likely to get a more helpful output there. All right. Just aware we've just gone a wee bit over time here. Any other questions? Okay. So is ChatGPT learning from me as well as using it? 100%. So it's learning from you, and you're getting the output from it as well. Okay. Any other questions I haven't answered? If there's any I haven't answered, just pop up your hand. When will the recording be available? It will be available tomorrow afternoon. In fact, we'll drop the link into the Smashco YouTube channel into the chat here. You can save the chat. The link will be there. If you go and subscribe to the channel, hit the bell when you subscribe. You'll get a notification directly as soon as that replay is uploaded. But they're all uploaded onto the Smashco YouTube channel. All right. Oh, Fred, what prompt was it that you wanted me to share?
The one where you asked about the business, where you asked about you and everything else.
Oh, that prompt there. Okay, I'll share that prompt in the email that goes out tonight. So we'll send it an email tonight, and we'll pop it in there.
Okay, appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. All right. Well, we do have a door prize to give away tonight. So stick around. We'll draw that for you now. Now the door prize is we've just put together a program for ChatGPT, particularly on how to use ChatGPT, how to create those custom GPTs for you and your business. And it really is a 6-week program. It's workshop style, so you're going to be working in it. Anyone that's been involved in the Canva course that Jenny and I have run, it's a very similar process to that there. So you're going to be in there, working in there, so that you come out with solid content that you can use. And the reason why I put it together is a heap of people have just asked for it. So here we are, we've put it together. Now I have to say, the course itself, interestingly enough, we've used ChatGPT to create a lot of the content and the processes around it. I'm going to drop the link to it into the chat. You are welcome to, if it's something that you're interested in, you are welcome to have a look at it and come and register. But we are also giving that away to one person here tonight as well too. So it really is a deep dive into ChatGPT and really applicable to your business. So that is starting on the 22nd of April. So it's not too far away there. So the way we're going to draw that is, as usual, we're going to pop your names into the wheel of names, and you need to be in the room to win it. So everyone's name is in here, and let's spin the wheel. So virtual drum roll, please. And it's coming around and landing on David Bates. Congratulations. Are you still here, David?
I am still here, and I've been coming to this thing for like 3 or 4 years, and I've never won anything. So this is, I felt lucky tonight, Nick. I felt lucky.
Fabulous. Well, it's worth turning up all of that time to get here. Excellent. Well done. Yeah. Fred, you missed it by one. Excellent. All right, look, we'll shoot out all the details to you and all the arrangements for that. But knowing what I do about your business, this will be immensely helpful for you and your business as well.
Yeah, can't wait. Everything you guys do is great. So, yeah, can't wait, mate. Thanks.
Fabulous. Excellent. All right, well, we've dropped all of the links into ChatGPT, into the chat. Any last words, Jenny?
No, Nick, I've got a list of things I didn't get through, but we'll catch it in the course.
Now, I have got a handout also of a whole lot of uses for ChatGPT. We'll drop that in the email that's going to go out to you tonight as well too. Make sure you do read that email, grab that download, and make sure you save the chat as well. So the 3 little dots on the top of the right-hand side of chat, that has got all the links from tonight in there as well too. Any questions about ChatGPT in particular or some of these AI tools, feel free to reach out. Happy to talk to you about it. Replay will be available on Smashgo's YouTube channel tomorrow afternoon. If you're not a member of the Facebook group, feel free to go and join that as well too. So that's our session tonight. Thanks everyone for coming along, and I'll see you next week. Thank you for tuning in and listening to the Business Owners Smashing It Online podcast. You can also find me on social media and online. Just search for Business Owners Smashing It Online and Nick Cree, spelled Nikree, all one word. If you like this and want to hear more, subscribe now. Until next time, don't be a slave to your business. Get your business working for you.